Welcome to the amazing and mysterious world filled with millennia-old secrets and ancient enigmas that have intrigued researchers and archaeology enthusiasts for centuries. Here in this world where deep antiquity meets the most advanced technologies of modernity, each new step towards unraveling these mysteries opens up new horizons of knowledge and astonishing discoveries. Imagine that perhaps not everything in the history of the great Egyptian pyramids is as straightforward as it seems at first glance. What if these ancient structures, often perceived as the tombs of pharaohs, actually concealed much more than just the remains of rulers? And what if their very construction was designed as a complex system, encoded and intended for purposes we have yet to understand? Thanks to modern, innovative methods utilizing the latest scientific advancements, we can delve into the deepest secrets they hold. Recent radar studies conducted in recent years have revealed numerous previously unknown objects beneath the surface of the Egyptian pyramids. Hidden beneath their massive stone walls are concealed wells, mysterious caves, and enigmatic shafts that, like pages of ancient books, tell us of forgotten times. These discoveries, made possible by new technologies, not only expand our understanding of ancient Egypt, but also pose new questions that remain to be answered. Among them are mysterious hieroglyphs, sealed chambers that have remained unopened for centuries, and majestic ancient ships buried in star-lined shafts. All these findings accumulated over recent years gradually form a comprehensive picture that overturns our perception of the past, prompting us to reconsider established views and look at ancient structures from new perspectives. But before we delve into the most thrilling details, we would like to ask for a small favor. Though small, it is very important. Your attention and interest are the best support for those engaged in exploring these mysteries. Attention to our story, as well as the opportunity to leave your mark in the form of a rating or comment, is all very important. We thank you for your support and for sharing this journey of discovery with us. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey to uncover 20 astonishing discoveries made in the famous pyramids of Giza, which are rightfully considered some of the greatest monuments of antiquity. At the center of this grand complex lies something colossal, and its true purpose remains a mystery, sparking numerous debates and hypotheses. One of the most impressive discoveries was made in 2017 when a research team used the latest technology, muon radiography or cosmic ray scanning. This method, which allows for imaging the internal structure of large objects without destruction, revealed something incredible inside the pyramid. Deep beneath its surface, a massive space was discovered, the existence of which no one had previously suspected. This space, over 30 meters long, is located directly above the famous Grand Gallery, which is itself considered one of the architectural wonders of antiquity. And most astonishingly, no one knows why it is there or what its original purpose was. For many centuries, after numerous excavations and studies, scientists and archaeologists have proposed various theories about the purpose of this place. However, the discovery of this gigantic void was a real breakthrough. There's no hiding it. It is the so-called Big Void, a sealed and completely untouched object that remains inaccessible for study even with modern technology. Archaeologists, engineers, and leading experts in ancient civilizations, all of them were left completely baffled. Some suggest that this void might have served to distribute weight and relieve pressure from the chamber below, ensuring the durability of the entire structure. Others, with more daring and imaginative minds, hypothesize that this area might have housed hidden burial chambers intended for storing. How could such an important and significant discovery remain unnoticed for more than 450 years? This is not just a simple crack in the wall, but a full-fledged passage, carefully carved and deeply embedded in one of the world's most ancient and recognizable architectural structures. The natural question arises, how was it discovered? The answer lies in the application of modern scanning technologies, which today allow us to look inside ancient structures without causing any damage to their surface. Thanks to these advanced methods, the team of specialists involved in the Scan Pyramids project stumbled upon this enigmatic object. These researchers use non-invasive tools that provide detailed images of the pyramid's internal structure and reveal hidden spaces without causing any harm. And so, after years of observation and analysis, they uncovered an astonishing find. They discovered a hollow space inside the pyramid, located right behind the well-known chevron blocks, which from the outside appear as characteristic decorative elements. It is there, behind these blocks, that this mysterious passage is hidden, which had remained unnoticed until now. The most intriguing part begins. No one knows exactly why this passage was created. Some scientists suggest that it might have served as a weight relief system designed to mitigate pressure and prevent the entire structure from collapsing under its own weight. It is quite logical to assume that such a grand structure could have had a complex system ensuring its stability and long-term preservation. However, there is another perspective that questions whether this passage might have a deeper or different meaning. It is possible that it is connected to something even more significant, hidden from our eyes. It is particularly striking that this passage is located directly above the main entrance to the pyramid, the very point through which millions of tourists from around the world pass each year. One can imagine that it is as if someone deliberately hid an entire corridor right above the entrance to the famous structure, and no one noticed it for centuries. This discovery not only adds new space to the map of the pyramid, but it also completely changes our understanding of how this majestic structure was designed. The precise engineering solutions, mystery, and craftsmanship of ancient builders continue to amaze scientists even in the 12th year of the 21st century. It seems that no matter how much this pyramid is studied, it continues to keep its secrets. When it seems that all its secrets have been revealed, a new astonishing discovery suddenly appears, and it forces us to reconsider our ideas about ancient civilizations. In May of the next year, 2024, scientists made yet another stunning discovery. While near the Great Pyramid and studying the sands around it, they discovered two hidden underground structures that had remained completely unknown until that moment. These structures are connected and represent a large anomaly in the shape of an L, stretching over 9 meters. The second chamber is located nearby and is clearly connected to the first. And what is most surprising, it is not a natural formation. These structures show clear outlines, geometric shapes, and signs of the creator's intent. But here is the mystery. What were they intended for? Were they secret burial chambers, hidden storages, places for rituals, or perhaps entrances to even deeper and unknown underground labyrinths? The possibilities are endless, and each hypothesis seems incredible. What is even more astonishing is that these hidden places are located very close to the Great Pyramid itself, literally beneath its foundations, buried under layers of centuries-old sand. They were there, just waiting for their time to be revealed to the world. Since no surface markers, inscriptions, or ancient indications pointing to their existence could be found, it all came as a real surprise. Experts believe that these findings could completely change our understanding of how the entire pyramid complex is arranged and what secrets it holds. There might be a whole network of underground corridors and chambers. This event cannot be called a simple archaeological discovery, as it conceals an entire mystery right beneath our feet. This mystery is so vast that it can push any mind to its limits, as the Great Pyramid seems to emit invisible signals holding ancient secrets. Modern science employs infrared thermography, a technology that allows for the detection of thermal differences on the surfaces of objects. It was through this method that scientists managed to scan the surface of the famous pyramid. And what did they discover? Anomalous hotspots were recorded in several places. Before you start assuming this is related to solar heating, it should be noted, these thermal anomalies were found precisely at the base of the pyramid, on its eastern side, where logically everything should have cooled down and had a uniform temperature. But instead, several blocks were either significantly hotter or noticeably colder than their surroundings. This was not just strange, it looked suspicious and raised serious questions. So what could be the cause of such unusual thermal deviations? Several hypotheses are being proposed in scientific circles. One suggests that a different building material was used in this area, differing in characteristics from the rest of the structure. Another proposes that something more is hidden behind the stonework, possibly a sealed chamber that we do not yet know about. Yes, you heard correctly. There is a possibility that a hidden room is concealed inside the pyramid, remaining invisible to the eye and sealed for centuries, yet able to emit enough heat to be detected with modern technology. And this anomaly is not small. It spans 3 blocks at once, each reacting differently to thermal scanning. It seems that behind these stones there should be an empty space, a cavity, or a chamber. Could it be that they conceal an entrance to something long forgotten, untouched and inaccessible to modern man? No one can give a precise answer, but one thing is clear. The Great Pyramid continues to amaze and astonish with its mysterious nature. Deep within its chambers, which have remained inaccessible to scientists and archaeologists for thousands of years, a stunning discovery was made. Ancient inscriptions, red hieroglyphs, were found, which had remained hidden and invisible to all until now. And these inscriptions are not just decorations or random drawings. They are genuine messages left by the builders of the pyramid, the ancient civilization that created this structure. What do these enigmatic symbols mean? A question that many researchers and scientists are seeking to answer today. Some suggest that these inscriptions may be related to texts that are part of pyramid rituals. These, in turn, are considered some of the oldest religious writings in human history. Imagine this. These could be spells, prayers, or sacred instructions intended to help the pharaoh successfully transition to the afterlife. And what is particularly astonishing is the location of their discovery. These secret chambers were never meant to be revisited. They were sealed during construction with no access and no daylight. This fact raises an important question. Why did the builders so meticulously hide these symbols? Why did they spend time and effort inscribing symbols in such inaccessible places where no one could enter? Some believe it was a sacred act, a kind of final blessing or protection. Others suggest that these hieroglyphs might contain keys to the secrets of ancient construction or even to the deeper purposes of the pyramid. Perhaps they hold knowledge of ancient engineering technologies that we have been trying to decipher for centuries. One thing is certain, this discovery is not just interesting, it is extremely important for understanding history. These red symbols might connect myths, religion, and the genius of ancient engineers. What if the Great Pyramid itself is? More and more scientists and researchers are beginning to reconsider long-established views on great ancient structures, proposing new, astonishing hypotheses. Among them, a particular theory questions the traditional view of the Giza pyramid as merely a pharaoh's tomb. Some researchers suggest that this massive stone structure might have been built using advanced knowledge of air movement, pressure, and energy based on fire and heat. As a result, it might have been not only a monument, but also an ancient energy production system, functioning on principles that we can only attempt to understand today. In this new concept, special attention is paid to the layout of the pyramid, its mysterious shafts and chambers, which were previously perceived more as decorative or symbolic elements. In reality, these spaces might have played a crucial role in regulating airflows, managing pressure within the structure, and possibly even initiating chemical reactions that provided energy or other technological processes. Does it sound crazy? But if you look closer, there are reasons to believe it is not so far-fetched. After all, there is evidence. Some shafts show traces of thermal damage and chemical residues left from reactions that might have occurred inside. Moreover, the meticulously cut stonework indicates that the level of engineering knowledge of the ancient Egyptians exceeded our understanding of those times. If we combine these facts with possible ventilation and air supply systems, it can be assumed that there was a highly complex aerodynamic system inside the pyramid. And if we add the presence of fire or another source of reaction to this, the idea arises that the structure might not have been just a tomb, but a true energy installation complex. Some scientists even suggest that the pyramid acted as a giant resonator, converting natural energy, solar, geothermal, or other types, into something significantly more powerful and controllable. Water from underground chambers, chemical reactions, and airflows, all of this begins to sound more like ancient science than myth. Of course, not everyone shares this view. Traditional archaeologists and historians adhere to the version that the pyramid served only as a tomb for the pharaoh, and nothing more. But the idea that it might have contained systems for energy regulation, based on the interaction of fire and air, is quickly gaining popularity. What if I told you that the Great Pyramid of Giza itself might have been something much more complex than just a burial place? What if its design included mechanisms that made it unique in human history? Let's turn to the mysterious sarcophagus located in the king's chamber. Unlike most similar tombs, it is made of massive granite. and its surface lacks any inscriptions, decorations, or signs that a mummy ever rested inside. What was this massive stone intended for? Some researchers suggest it served as a biological and water purification filter. It might have been used to soften water or prevent scale formation within a system that could have been part of the pyramid's internal infrastructure. Imagine that the ancient Egyptians used this granite block not only for storage, but also as part of a water purification system, applied for cooling or other technological purposes within the structure. It sounds futuristic, doesn't it? But the story doesn't end there. Inside the pyramid, salt deposits up to 1.5 centimeters thick were discovered, which apparently formed as a result of evaporative cooling, a process where water turns into vapor, leaving salts behind. These deposits appeared before they began to be removed in the 98th year of the last century, indicating the presence of a system based on evaporation and cooling within the structure. There is another mystery, the antechamber. It likely served as a drying room where ropes and straps used for internal mechanics and construction work were stored. It sounds incredibly convincing, yet this very idea related to the pyramid, located at the pharaoh's father's site, draws special attention. This pyramid had a design similar to the known form, suggesting that such structures could not have arisen by chance or based on simple construction solutions. The question that has long intrigued scientists and researchers is whether these pyramids were essentially high-tech structures, surpassing ordinary tombs in complexity. Or perhaps they conceal something much more significant, a lost library of ancient knowledge that still lies beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza. This mystery is worth millions of dollars and has captivated the minds of scientists and adventurers for decades. It remains unsolved despite numerous theories and hypotheses, and continues to spark heated debates among experts. One of the most popular theories revolves around the so-called Hall of Records, a supposed underground chamber that some scientists and researchers believe is hidden beneath the ground or within the pyramid itself. This hall is thought to contain sacred texts, advanced scientific knowledge, and possibly even information about a long-lost civilization, such as the legendary Atlantis. The idea of such a repository gained widespread attention in the latter half of the 20th century, especially after the famous mystic and clairvoyant Edgar Cayce claimed that this place would one day be discovered when humanity was ready for such a revelation. Despite the popularity of this theory, this is where the most interesting moments begin. Recent studies using ground-penetrating radar have revealed strange voids and cavities in the area of the Sphinx. While such findings were previously considered insignificant, minor gaps in the soil, they now point to significant underground anomalies located precisely where Cayce predicted the hall would be. This sounds like irrefutable evidence of hidden chambers, doesn't it? However, science and official archaeology view these findings more skeptically. Leading Egyptologists assert that there is no solid evidence of underground chambers or deep cavities beneath the Sphinx. They believe that all these radar-obtained data can be explained by natural erosion processes or ancient shafts used for restoration work in the past. Moreover, Egyptian authorities quickly respond to any attempts at unauthorized excavations or research in the Giza area, only adding to the mystery of the situation. Why then are there areas beneath the Sphinx that are securely blocked and inaccessible for study? Why is access to these zones so strictly limited? Despite the use of the latest technologies around Giza, muon scanning, thermal imaging systems, and other advanced tools, no one has yet been able to fully uncover all the secrets of this place. The question remains open. How much longer will it take for someone to finally discover what lies hidden in the depths of the underground spaces? Is the Hall of Records a real repository of human history that was lost or destroyed? Or is it merely one of the most famous myths that continue to live to this day? It's time to debunk one of the most widespread ancient myths, as all claims that the pyramids were built exclusively by slaves are untrue. Archaeological excavations conducted near the Great Pyramid have uncovered actual tombs of workers who participated in its construction. These findings have radically changed the conventional understanding of that era and the people who were involved in creating this grand structure. It is no secret that these tombs were not hidden in secrecy. They were located just a few steps from where the pharaoh rests. This speaks volumes and changes established dogmas. These were real workers, organized into rotating crews who contributed to this astonishing construction. The pyramid was not merely a symbol of royal grandeur or an expression of a ruler's ego. On the contrary, it was the result of complex teamwork, unity, and incredible dedication of thousands of people who worked towards achieving a common great vision. These builders were not coerced into labor under the threat of punishment or misfortune. They felt part of something much greater, a part of legendary history where every step, every effort mattered. The Great Pyramid is not just an ancient architectural wonder. It is essentially a stone embodiment of a cosmic design, an idea that transcends ordinary understanding. What makes it special? Researchers have determined that the pyramid was aligned with such precision that its sides are oriented to the true north, south, east, and west with minimal error. Speaking of precision, it should be noted that we are talking about laser-like accuracy, with a deviation of only fractions of a degree. And all this was done 4,500 years ago, without the use of modern technologies and equipment. The craftsmen of that time relied solely on pure intellect, deep knowledge, and serious observation of celestial bodies. But that's not all. Studies show that the arrangement of the three main pyramids of Giza may almost coincide with the alignment of the stars in Orion's belt. This is not a mere coincidence. In ancient Egyptian culture, Orion was associated with the god of the afterlife, Osiris. Therefore, the construction of tombs and pyramids was not just an act of architectural activity, but a way to establish an eternal connection with the celestial sphere. How did they achieve such precise astronomical alignments? There are theories that the ancient Egyptians used the rising and setting of stars, observing their appearance and disappearance over the horizon. Others believe they tracked the sun's shadow during the equinox to determine the exact position of celestial bodies. In any case, their approach to astronomy was at the highest level, surpassing all our modern concepts. It can be said that the ancient Egyptians built not only for the Earth, but they also created structures intended for communication with the stars. This was not merely construction, but an expression of a profound understanding of the universe and its laws. How did they achieve such a grand construction feat? The building of the Great Pyramid of Giza, without modern machines, concrete, cranes, or bulldozers? This remains a mystery that scientists have been pondering for decades. It is known that this colossal structure, which evokes admiration and wonder, was erected from more than 2 million limestone blocks, some of which weighed over 70 tons. How could they even begin to lay such massive stones using only ancient technologies? One popular theory suggests the use of enormous ramps. It is believed that the builders created a straight ramp to lift the blocks, or a spiral one that wrapped around the pyramid as it was being constructed. There is also a hypothesis about the use of levers with counterweights, allowing heavy stones to be lifted like giant swings. It sounds incredible, but perhaps that is how it happened. However, to build these ramps, their length would have had to be almost equal to the height of the pyramid itself, and the precision very high. Imagine that to erect the first pyramid, they built a second one to obtain the necessary equipment and materials. It sounds almost unbelievable, but that might have been how they achieved the required precision. There is also evidence that the ancient Egyptians moved heavy stones across the sand by lubricating it beforehand. This method significantly eased the transportation of blocks across the desert, making it possible to move very heavy loads. All of this is true ancient engineering art at its finest. All this complex technique is the result of pure intellect, perseverance, and ingenious solutions. No modern machines, no concrete or bulldozers. What was it? Simple brute force, a clever plan, or perhaps something else? A whole mixture of different approaches and ideas. Whatever method the ancient builders used, the fact that these monuments still stand, preserved and precise in their alignment and orientation, is undeniable proof of their exceptional foresight and high level of knowledge. It can be assumed that our ancestors possessed technologies and understanding ahead of their time. Still, perhaps we were mistaken in our assumptions. Maybe the Great Pyramid was not only intended for the burial of pharaohs, but served much deeper and more mysterious purposes. It seems that its role might have been to send souls to another dimension, the so-called gates for the soul, so it could transition to the next stage of existence. Archaeologists have found several pits around the pyramids intended for boats, and in some of them, fully disassembled but very well preserved ships have been discovered. This means that the ancient Egyptians did not bury luxurious boats for beauty or to display wealth, but did so to prepare the vessels for a journey through the afterlife. This is evidence of a high level of spiritual culture and belief in the afterlife. They believed that the pharaoh needed a ship to travel with the sun, god Ra, across the heavens. These boats were not just means of transportation, but divine vehicles intended for eternity. Moving such ships to a museum is a whole operation requiring special care and high skill. Imagine how difficult it was to transport 4,000-year-old artifacts through modern Cairo without damaging a single detail. It was a true mission with very high demands and responsibility. These boat pits prove that the pyramids were created not only from stone and for status. They were about legacy, belief, and the desire for the next chapter of the pharaoh's life to begin with grandeur. When a person enters the afterlife, they must arrive on something truly impressive and worthy. Deep within the walls of some of the oldest pyramids, archaeologists have discovered something astonishing. The pyramid texts are not random records or primitive inscriptions. They are the earliest religious scrolls and writings preserved to our time, filled with cosmic power. More than 4,300 years ago, priests carved spells, chants, and sacred instructions on the tomb walls to help the pharaoh pass through all the trials of the afterlife. This was not just art or religious rituals. It was a kind of code, a key to eternal life and transformation. These texts were their cheat codes for achieving immortality. Forget about treasures or gemstones. These words and spells were the true key to divine transformation. Every line, every symbol in these writings was like a spiritual blueprint, a map showing the king how to resurrect after death, pass through the gates of heaven, sail on the solar bark, and ultimately become a god. This was not just a tale of ghosts or mystics. It was an epic mission of rebirth, fueled by the light of the stars and cosmic power. And most importantly, these pyramid texts were not meant for the living. They were hidden inside burial chambers, serving solely for the pharaoh and the gods. These were secret knowledge, carved in stone to exist eternally, beyond time and space. They laid the foundation for all future sacred writings and rituals, becoming the first and most important texts in the history of religion. Among them stands out the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and instructions intended to help the pharaoh's soul pass through all trials and attain eternal bliss. These ancient scrolls and inscriptions are not just historical artifacts, they are the key. It all begins right here, in the very heart of ancient Egyptian civilization. So let's try to grasp the main essence. The inscriptions we see on the walls of pyramids and tombs were not merely artistic decorations or writings for remembrance. They concealed ancient knowledge encoded with the profound mysteries of the soul, stars, and the divine path leading beyond death. The Great Pyramid undoubtedly served not only as a pharaoh's tomb, but also as an entrance to the mysterious and enigmatic world of immortality. These structures were like gateways opening the path to eternal life, and the texts contained within them were a kind of guide, a manual for achieving immortality, revealing secrets that transcend mortality. Initially, all attention is usually focused on the Great Pyramid of Giza, the famous pharaoh's tomb that towers over the surrounding landscapes. However, it is important to remember the smaller, subsidiary pyramids located right next to the majestic structure. These less grandiose but no less important stone giants hold their own captivating and significant stories. They are situated along the eastern and southern sides of the main pyramid, in those corners often unnoticed by most tourists visiting Giza. Meanwhile, these smaller pyramids play a key role in understanding how ancient Egyptian society functioned, its religious and social structures. These structures were built not only to serve as tombs for queens, royal wives, and other elite family members. They were created because members of the royal family did not journey to the afterlife alone. They were accompanied by companions, wives, and close ones. Each of the smaller pyramids had its own chapel, burial shaft, and ceremonial function. They were not just miniature versions of the great tombs. They represented full-fledged sacred spaces, a kind of mini-homes for the souls of the deceased, where rituals and ceremonies related to ancestor worship and preparation for eternal life took place. One can imagine these pyramids as apartments in the afterlife, literally located next to the pharaoh's penthouse, his main tomb. Interestingly, some of these queens and wives possessed not only status, but also influence, as evidenced by their own pyramid complexes. They were not just companions, but women with significant power and authority within the royal family. Their pyramids testified to the considerable status and respect they were accorded. Each had its sacred space, aligned according to cosmic principles and carefully integrated into the overall architectural ensemble of Giza. Archaeologists, through numerous excavations and studies, have discovered within these pyramids tombs, rich offerings, inscriptions, and ritual items that provide valuable insights into the inner life and structure of the royal family. These findings allow us to imagine what this mysterious inner side of palace life looked like, a sort of ancient Egyptian version of royal backstage. Thus, despite the grandeur of the Great Pyramids dominating the horizon, the smaller subsidiary structures play a crucial role in the background. They preserve the legacy of the queens who stood beside the pharaohs both in life and after death. Their role in ensuring the spiritual and social stability of society is invaluable. Each of these blocks holds a whole story that deserves attention, a story of power, faith, and funerary rites that complements the overall picture of ancient Egyptian civilization. You might call them air shafts or spiritual channels if you prefer. But as we begin to examine these narrow passages leading into the depths of the ancient structure, one shaft, wrapped in mystery and enigma, stands out. Inside it, a sealed door with massive metal handles was found, as if guarding something very important and hidden from prying eyes. What lies behind this door? What secrets are concealed behind it? The answers to these questions provoke thought. Robotic probes equipped with modern instruments were sent to investigate this mysterious door, to penetrate inside and gather as much information as possible. Inside, the probes discovered a complex of hidden chambers, large stone blocks, and strange carved figures located in unpredictable places. The deeper we delve into these tunnels, the more mysterious and enigmatic everything becomes. Perhaps the ventilation shafts serve for air circulation, and in some places, symbolic patterns resembling star tunnels or complex passage systems leading to unknown rooms and corridors can be traced. All these findings suggest the existence of secret passages and hidden chambers, concealed from the eyes of outsiders. Here we begin to consider the main question. Why were these shafts created? For engineering purposes, religious rituals, or perhaps something much more advanced and mysterious? Whatever the answer, one thing remains clear. These tiny, seemingly insignificant tunnels conceal incredible secrets and knowledge. Not all the history associated with this majestic monument is reflected in bright colors and gold. Inside the Great Pyramid, behind the smooth, polished stone surfaces, not only ancient rituals are hidden, but also inscriptions, graffiti left by the workers who labored to lift each stone block. These inscriptions are not art or decoration, but rather crude scribbles made with red paint, a kind of reminder of the people who created this grand monument. Here you can find the names of squads, work brigades, even jokes and nicknames. One of the groups called themselves Friends of Khufu, indicating a special sense of unity and pride within the construction team, as if they were not just workers but participants in an important and historical endeavor associated with their pharaoh. This legendary name suggests that these builders did not consider themselves slaves or subordinates, but rather skilled specialists organized into rotating brigades, working with precision and determination. Their labor was hard and dangerous, but they took pride in their work and wanted to leave something significant behind. Some inscriptions served as coordinates or clues, helping to track the location of blocks or the progress of construction, while others were simple greetings or demonstrations of craftsmanship. It was like leaving an autograph on a steel beam in a modern skyscraper, a sign that these people were here and created something great. And although many centuries have passed, these inscriptions have survived, and today we can see them as a message from the past. They clearly show that the builders were proud of their work and wanted their names to remain in history. These graffiti are not polished decorations, but authentic testimonies of those who created this architectural gem, leaving their mark in stone. Today we see only the tip of this historical legacy. Once, the entire structure was covered with smooth white limestone that reflected the sunlight and created a sparkling effect. Recent studies show that the original appearance of the pyramid was much brighter and more magnificent. In those times, it was entirely covered with smooth white limestone, which, when exposed to sunlight, reflected it so brightly that this sparkling surface could be seen for many kilometers. Ancient texts mention that when the sun shone directly on the pyramid, it literally glowed like a giant sparkling diamond on the horizon. These polished stones were so precisely fitted together that what happened to this great ancient structure? Over time, due to natural forces and human activity, the famous pyramid lost its original cladding of smooth stone slabs. Many of these facing blocks were destroyed or removed, and some were used for the construction of other buildings in Cairo and its surroundings. As a result, today only a few original fragments remain at the site of this monument, serving as evidence of its former grandeur. Some of them have been preserved at the base of the pyramid, while others are kept in museums, safeguarding their historical value and uniqueness. However, even these few surviving parts are enough to convincingly prove that once this structure was the pinnacle of ancient engineering and architectural power. Imagine how bright and majestic this snow-white pyramid looked on the horizon in its prime. Then it was not just a tomb, it was a beacon, a symbol of strength, power, and eternity. It served not only as a burial place for pharaohs, but also as a cosmic symbol connecting earth and sky, an expression of power and divinity. One could say that in its prime, this pyramid was truly dazzling. Its radiance attracted eyes and inspired people for millennia. Today, many consider it just a massive pyramid and a few surrounding dunes. Isn't that right? But the reality is much deeper and richer. This place was not just a monument, but a full-fledged necropolis, an extensive cemetery where hundreds of tombs rested. Around the pyramid were invaluable artifacts, evidence of the lives of those who built and preserved these sacred places. Archaeologists discovered a burial site approximately 4,500 years old near the pyramids of Giza, filled with ceramic vessels, jewelry, tools, and even ancient inscriptions. These findings are not random remnants, but important evidence revealing how the Egyptians regarded their dead and envisioned the afterlife. Among the discovered items are amulets, handcrafted and adorned with intricate patterns, vessels that held treasures and special ritual items, as well as skillfully crafted statues buried alongside the tombs of rulers, officials, and craftsmen. All this indicates that even those who did not belong to the royal family received very important and carefully prepared burials located right next to the pyramids. Such proximity was not accidental. It symbolized status and grandeur. Being buried near the king meant receiving protection and honor in eternity. In ancient times, it was believed that the burial place influenced the fate of the soul in the afterlife. These findings prove how much effort and resources were invested in each burial. From individual items created specifically for each deceased to ritual objects, everything was aimed at sending the soul to the afterlife with dignity and style. Many believe that ancient civilizations were primitive, but this is not so. The Egyptians, despite lacking modern technology, were able to move massive blocks weighing 80 tons without the help of modern mechanisms. They aligned their pyramids to true north with astonishing precision. This was not a mistake or coincidence, but a testament to their engineering genius. Modern research shows that even after more than 4,500 years, the base of the pyramid remains very stable. Analyses show that the foundation has withstood the test of time, remaining strong and reliable, like a champion among ancient structures. What is the secret to such stability? It all comes down to meticulous planning and impeccable engineering thought. The builders did not just stack huge stones in the desert mindlessly or randomly. They leveled the rock foundation with incredible precision, ensuring that the surface was as flat and stable as possible. The foundation was prepared to withstand millions of tons. This story does not involve any collapse or significant tilting of the structure. What we observe is the pure power of architectural mastery and engineering thought. Studying the foundation of ancient pyramids is not just a fascinating endeavor. It serves as proof that ancient engineers had an astonishing understanding of load distribution, knew the characteristics of geological conditions, and could calculate the long-term stability of their constructions much better than is commonly believed today. This knowledge allowed them to create such monumental structures that not only endured through the centuries, but also continued to amaze us with their strength and precision. Therefore, despite the fact that we now repair cracks or potholes caused by natural and temporal factors every spring, the Great Pyramid still stands confidently, like an indomitable monument to time over 4,000 years old. It seems to tell us that time has no power over true greatness. Undoubtedly, these ancient structures hold many secrets, and each new discovery only adds to the mystery. Deep inside the pyramid are enigmatic doors, small stone slabs secured with metal fastenings that seem to lead to unexpected places. These doors are not equipped with any keys or clues, only raising many questions. Researchers, eager to uncover their mystery, use tiny robots, modern technologies known as crawling robots. They were sent into narrow shafts leading to the Queen's chamber. These passages could barely accommodate a person or even a small object. They were so narrow that they resembled slots intended for robots, not humans. What did they find at the end of this path? They encountered a sealed stone door adorned with 2 copper handles. This door seems to guard something very important, like a sentinel protecting a secret that could change our understanding of the past. Naturally, scientists were very interested in understanding what lies behind it. They decided not to take risks and crafted a special drill, a tool designed for careful drilling. Carefully, so as not to damage the structure, specialists inserted the drill into the stone and gently drilled a hole. After that, venturing inside, they discovered a dark, empty space, an unlit chamber or corridor. Beyond it was yet another stone barrier, like a double obstacle, reminding us that the pyramid offered the world a double cliffhanger, leaving us in anticipation of new discoveries. And here is the main question facing scientists. What lies behind the second wall? Could it be that ancient scrolls or manuscripts with lost knowledge are hidden there? Or perhaps it is a royal burial cache that holds the remains of a pharaoh and his treasures? Or perhaps there is another, even more mysterious chamber hidden inside, the existence of which we can only speculate about. For now, no one knows for sure. All that can be said with certainty is that this discovery concerns not only what is hidden behind the door, it raises questions about the reasons for its sealing. Some experts suggest that these doors had symbolic significance, being part of a ritual or spiritual journey that the pharaoh's soul was supposed to undertake after death. Others believe that real yet undiscovered secrets are hidden behind them, which were locked away more than 4,000 years ago to preserve them for future generations. In any case, the pyramid continues to speak to us, revealing new mysteries and suggesting that these stone doors may be the key to the next great discovery in the field of ancient civilizations. This finding reminds us that history is still full of mysteries, and each new layer can open up horizons of knowledge we never even dreamed of before. For now, we are only on the threshold of solving the mystery, and each new study brings us closer to understanding the true meaning of these ancient structures. In conclusion, I would like to express sincere gratitude to everyone who carefully,